So welcome back to the Cloud Computing Insider, the one place where you can find out how to make cloud computing work for your enterprise and how to make generative AI function. I'm your host, David Linthicum, author, speaker, B-list geek. Let's get going. So this is really a cool video because we're going to get into a core report that Cisco did, Cisco 2024 AI Readiness Index, and they put a report out that shows the gap between AI ambitions and preparedness. In other words, what people want to do and what they're able to do. And I've been screaming about this on this podcast and my other channels for a long period of time. While the urgency is high, everybody wants to move to AI, readiness declined across 6 pillars, and they named 6, which are going to be strategy, infrastructure, data, governance, talent, and culture. And this report is linked in the description, and also I'll put a QR code at the end of the video if you want to check it out. And here to discuss the report is Jeetu Patel, Cisco's Executive Vice President and Chief Product Officer. He combines a bold vision steeped in product design and development expertise, operational rigor, and innate market understanding to create high growth business. Welcome, Jeetu. How are you doing?
David, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So the report talks about a critical pillar, and the critical pillar we're going to point out this time is going to be the strategy pillar. While showing the highest level of AI readiness among 6 pillars, still reveals areas needing improvement. While 95% of the respondents reported having a defined AI strategy, only 27% prioritize AI deployment for budget allocations, and it's unchanged since 2023, which is concerning because lots of stuff went on. So, Jeetu, I'm going to put it to you. Many organizations struggle to define a clear AI strategy. What are the key elements of a successful enterprise AI strategy, and how can businesses avoid common pitfalls? Also, what key differences exist between companies that are AI ready versus those that are not? Big ask.
It's a great question. I think it's such a deep topic that I'll try to summarize it as fast as I can. But if you think about strategy, there's a few things that really come to mind that are pretty important for every organization to keep front and center. First one is, I think there's going to be the core infrastructure on top of which you're going to build AI, that there's going to have to be some level of dexterity that most organizations have, either as they go to the public cloud or as they repatriate some of the workloads to the private cloud for a multitude of reasons. The second area is AI safety. And that's a pretty critical one, given that, security is one of the big reasons why you might sometimes not gain the adoption that you're looking for. And then the third one is the actual workflows themselves. What are you trying to do with AI, and what's the strategy there? And is it going to be meaningfully differentiated compared to what, and is it going to be something that's going to generate and drive usage? And so in AI infrastructure, there's things like security, power, compliance, resilience, all of those things that have to be thought through. Even if you're not building GPU capabilities today, you need to be thinking about, are you going to move some of the workloads to your own data center? You're going to keep it all 100% public cloud? You're going to go 100% private cloud? Those are all aspects that need to be thought through. And I think infrastructure is way too complicated today, and I think we need to make it plug and play. That's hopefully where Cisco will be able to help. But that's an area where I just don't think. I think if you look at infrastructure, you look at data, you look at security, these are all very complicated topics right now that need to get simplified, which I think will happen over time as more and more companies get into helping solve these problems to accelerate the use of AI.
So how can businesses effectively prioritize AI initiatives to maximize the return on investment? Also, what are some of the most promising AI use cases you see delivering strong ROI for businesses today? Man, that's a lot, but can you answer that?
So the first one on maximizing ROI, I think having effective infrastructure and a data center and a data strategy is going to be pretty important, because what you can get out of AI is based on what you put in, and that's going to be on your data and the fine tuning of data for your custom requirements. Because I think in fact, the stat that I'd heard was, while we're running out of publicly available data, there's 150x more amount of data available within enterprises that, if just harnessed in the right way, would be able to get you the most out of it. Now, what are the key use cases that have really gotten a high level of inferencing volume? There's about 4 or 5 that are pretty big, right? So if you think about autonomous driving, that's a pretty big use case. Social, media is a pretty big use case. But then when you start thinking about the enterprise, you start thinking about things like coding. That's going to be a pretty big use case because of the level of engineering productivity you can get with coding. contact center is a huge use case, because that's where you're able to go out and just take away hold time. One of the things that we found is we think that 95% of the inbound calls that come into the contact center will, over the next few years, be completely handled with an AI agent. And only the small, 3 to 5% will be something that gets graduated up to a human that needs to talk to them. And that'll actually reduce the hold times, because on average, we probably stay on hold about four weeks a year in our lifetimes. I'm sorry, no, not 4 weeks a year, 4 weeks in our lifetimes is how much every average human being stays on hold. So these are very potent use cases that currently you are starting to see traction for. But what you're now going to start seeing is this will have an exponential curve, as more and more, as these models get more sophisticated. And I'm looking forward to seeing the different kinds of use cases that come out that automate workflows with this agentic model, where it's not just doing single tasks, but actually stringing a bunch of tasks together through an agentic model. So you can start to automate workflows.
So, what are the biggest misconceptions about developing an AI strategy, do you think, Jeetu?
I think the biggest misconception is you have to have it all figured out before you get started. The reality is get started and start learning, because regardless of what your end state is, your strategy is going to end up needing to factor in the infrastructure that you need to go out and support the AI workloads. You're going to need to factor in simplifying your experience for the end user. You're going to need to factor in who you work with as a partner ecosystem. You're going to need to factor in what the safety standards are, the security standards are. You need to keep in mind, and then you also need to factor in what kind of workflows you're going to be automating with AI. All of these pieces you get better the more you do it. And so getting started is more important than analyzing it too much. Get going, it's messy work, but if you don't get started, you'll actually just fall behind.
Yeah, wise advice. Thank you very much, Jeetu, for being on the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my other stuff, my InfoWorld blog. Also, check me out on LinkedIn, my LinkedIn learning courses. So until next time, you guys stay very safe. Cheers. Bye.